Welcome to Foxborough as the Houston Texans take on the New England Patriots. Our kickoff is next on CBS.
CBS Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Well, 51 degrees in December ain't that bad here in the Foxborough area. There is a wind, as you can see, gusting as high as 25 miles an hour for former quarterback, and now NFL head coach Gary Kubiak. In his first year at the Houston Texans, the longtime offensive coordinator with the Denver Broncos. And Bill Belichick, what more can you say? His team, again, in first place in the East. A win today and a loss by the Jets. They become the champions for a fourth consecutive season in this division. Chris Brown will be kicking off with the win for the Houston Texans. And it is going to get hot as we go along. And for New England, deep back is Ellis Hobbs. As a quarterback on a day like this, how did you view the win?
Well, it can affect you in the passing game, not so much on the short and intermediate stuff, but on the downfield throws.
On a bounce, it's picked up by Tully Banta-Cain, who is taken down by Chris Taylor at about the 32-yard line on a 10-yard return, which takes us to Tom Brady, who is in the top 10 in every significant passing category in the NFL.
Well, he had a tough time last week versus Miami, but what I know about Tom Brady, usually comes out and lights it up through the air after a performance like that. I expect them to try and go after this secondary of the Texans today.
Highest active winning percentage of any quarterback in the NFL. The Patriots will start at their 33, and it's 1st and 10. With the third receiver being Troy Brown, Brady right to work. There's a block by Light, a screen pass to Corey Dillon, who is chased out of bounds on the sideline by linebacker Moreland Greenwood. It's a catch and run of 12 yards, and they spot him at about the 45-yard line. The linemen Light, Mankins, and Copen have started every game this season for New England. Heath Evans will be starting at fullback. Normally, you would see the tight end, Benjamin Watson, in that position. Not today. He is injured. May be back next week. First down, 45-yard line. First offensive possession of the game, and this is Dillon, who is brought down by Anthony Weaver on the line, and perhaps a loss. It is indeed of 2 yards back to the 43-yard line. The Houston defense is ranked number 28. Mario Williams, the number 1 overall pick in the draft, is at that one defensive end position. D'Amico Ryans leads all NFL defensive players in tackles. That is league-wide. And there you see the secondary. Robinson, number 23, an emerging player at that cornerback position. Second down and 12 from the 43. Brady, Riche Caldwell, who slips and is touched by Ryans, and a gain of 2 back to the 45.
Well, Kevin, without Watson and Maroney in the lineup, I think you lose a lot of speed. I think that's apparent. It's going to make it more difficult for Brady in this offense to attack downfield. They're going to have to find creative ways to manufacture some big plays in this offense today.
6 in the secondary for the Houston Texans. It is 3rd and 10. They need the 45.
Look at that 11-up look. They're going to try and confuse Tom Brady. They have a lot of different looks that he has not prepared for or seen this year from this defense.
Kevin Falk is in the backfield for Brady, who goes deep looking for Jabbar Gift, and he drops the ball inside the 20-yard line, tailed by McLeon and Von Hutchins. The ex-Houston Texan, who started over 50 games for Houston, drops it, and they got a punt. The Patriots do on their first possession.
Wow, what a great throw. And how would you like to start the game if you're Gaffney, a guy that played with the Texans? He runs right by Von Hutchins. He just can't bring this one in. Looks like he just took his eyes off the ball just a split second. He knew he had a big play in his hands.
Ken Walter will punt, and deep back is Dexter Wynn. From the 19-yard line goes Wynn. He got a block from Charlie Anderson, then was tripped up on the play by Pro Bowler Larry Izzo on a 36-yard punt, a 15-yard return. 13:03 in the first quarter. Our first look at David Carr when we come back. First possession for the Houston Texans. Carr leads the league in percentage.
They just need to go out and relax today and have fun. Don't worry about all the speculation about your future. I know this. Great performances against great teams speak volumes.
First and 10, Ron Dane with Devontae Leach. Block and a tackle made by Vrabel and by Ty Warren, and no gain on the play. The offensive line of the Houston Texans has come under fire. They do start a rookie, Eric Winston, out of Miami at the right tackle position. His hands full today. Andre Johnson leads the league in receptions with 92. It is second down and 10. New England just punted after 4 plays. Kevin Walter is an extra wide receiver. That's a handoff, and it goes off to Dane, who stumbles his way into the grasp of Asante Samuel out near the 42 on a gain of 9. With this defensive line awaiting, the 4-time Pro Bowler Seymour anchors there right, taking the place of Wilfork. Bruschi and Vrabel in the middle. And in the secondary, Samuel Hawkins, Sanders, and Chad Scott ready to stop a 3rd and 1 on Houston's first possession today from the 42. No changes defensively for the New England Patriots. Dane. Stuffed. Ty Warren again. Got a hand on him. No gain. And so it is 4th down. So the ball's at the 43.
Well, this is an important opening drive for the Texans, and I say that is because this is a team that has not started games well offensively this year, just 41 points all year in the first quarter. And when you look at them last week, 2 false starts in the first 2 offensive plays at home. Kevin, you and I did a game against Indianapolis where they fumbled their first 2 snaps from center. So it's been a problem for them all year, and you have to find a way to go on the road and start games fast. And I think that's going to be really important today for the Texans.
We're going to take a measurement and see how close the Texans are. When Kubiak took over, what did he find in David Carr? What kind of quarterback was he inheriting?
Well, I think he realized that as a guy that had been through a lot of different systems, a guy that had some problems and some issues in terms of his technique, and he went back to day one. He tried to go back and start all over with him and try and retrain him, and it's going to be a process, and it's not going to happen overnight, but there has been some signs of growth with David Carr.
Well, they were short, and Chad Stanley will punt. He is averaging 42 yards per boot. And deep back is Kevin Falk. He is inside the 15-yard line. This punt will come with the win. So both teams on their first possessions punting. Stanley is the only punter in the league who has not kicked a ball out of bounds this season, and he's known as a directional punter.
Yeah, and it's quiet in here, isn't it? I mean, just get a sense that this crowd has not woke up yet. That's good news for the Texans. You can take advantage of this if you can strike early.
Oh, here's like a fake. It is not like a fake. It is a fake, and they did not get the first down.
Well, I like the call by Gary Kubiak. What do you have to lose? You've already been eliminated from the playoffs. Why not open things up and be aggressive?
Jason Simmons, who is the personal protector, the guy that stands between the line and the punter, got the ball and moved it not. In fact, he may have even lost some yardage on that fake.
Well, you can see the special teams coach there, Joe Marciano. They must have seen something on film, and this looks like this is going to come up a little bit short.
He was right under center, was Jason Simmons. And usually he plays back a little bit more, but it was so quick you thought maybe he was just getting his line set. But the fake punt does not work, and the gamble backfires on the Houston Texans, and the New England Patriots will get it with outstanding beginning field position at the 42.
I'll tell you what, that's good coaching by the Patriots. The Patriots realize as well that this football team that they're playing today doesn't have a lot to lose. And they're going to be aggressive, and they're going to do some things that maybe are out of the norm, and they were ready for that fake punt.
Kelvin Kite will be a receiver at the bottom of your screen. Caldwell on top, Dillon in the backfield. First and 10, 42-yard line, second possession. It's Corey Dillon with a sledgehammer block by Evans. The tackle made by Simmons in the secondary to the 35 on a run of 7 yards.
Well, Heath Evans has done a nice job at the fullback spot. You just watch him lead up inside along with Daniel Graham. So they have 2 lead blockers for Corey Dillon, and they get a lot of push in the hole.
Kylie Wong has been inserted in the linebacking core for the Texans. It is 2nd down and 3. Kite has been taken out. They have brought in David Thomas, who is that rookie tight end. The fake to Dillon, and that is incomplete for Troy Brown, who is covered by a linebacker downfield in Ryan's incomplete pass.
I really got the sense when last week they were shook up a little bit with that shutout loss at Miami. You see Brady here trying to stick one into Troy Brown. And it was a rough time last week for him. Just 78 yards passing. That's very un-Brady-like. And you just knew he was going to come back today. They were going to be focused. They were going to find some ways to generate some bigger plays and some bigger shots down the field.
6 in the secondary. They bring in Hutchins and they bring in McCleon, 3rd and 3. Falk is in the backfield with Brady. And outside, that is caught by Richey Caldwell. Close to a first down, and the tackle on the side made by Simmons, and we'll have to see where the spot is. It looks like the 32-yard line, which would be good for a first down by about a yard.
Just look at all the movement pre-snap by the Texans, and they're actually coming there, and Tom Brady sees it. He recognizes it. The ball comes out quick. And you just watch Caldwell. He's just going to go up and stop. Look where the location is. It's on his outside shoulder to the boundary, a safe throw. That's the one thing about Tom Brady. He's a very accurate thrower, and he puts it in the places where his receivers can make plays. He keeps it away from the defender.
Falk remains in the backfield. Thomas, a tight end, split atop your screen. 1st and 10. Regular defense back out there now for the Houston Texans from the 32. Kevin Falk hurdling inside. D'Amico Ryans makes the stop. He was the Southeastern Conference Defensive Player of the Year at Alabama. It is a gain of 3, and Falk is to the 29.
Well, the one thing I've noticed as I watch this film with the Patriots offensively, they use a number of different players in different roles. And everybody realizes what they bring to the party. And to play in this offense, you have to be unselfish. It's all about team, and it's really not a statistically oriented offense. They don't care about numbers. They just care about wins. And they do that as well as anybody in the NFL.
Dillon is in. Falk is out. No defensive changes on 2nd down and 7. A missed tackle on the play by Mannix. And here comes Corey Dillon, rumbling his way down to the 15-yard line. Hit by Simmons with the tackle out of bounds. A 15-yard run, a New England first down.
Well, he's more of a straight-line runner, but when he gets up in the hole, you look, he always carries the ball in his left hand, but he is powerful. And he knows how to finish runs. And, you know, I was surprised to see that he had gone 15 straight weeks without a 100-yard effort. I know he's cognizant of that. He's looking to break that barrier today.
Now Falk and Evans in the backfield. 2nd possession by New England. A fake punt backfiring for Houston on 4th down. Here is a first down handoff, and it goes to Evans, who is brought down by Mario Williams at the 11. It is a gain of 3. That is the 18th carry this season for Heath Evans, who is out of Auburn.
You know, I got a kick out of our conversation with Richard Smith, the defensive coordinator for Houston last night. He said they were excited to see how his defense was going to perform against Brady, to see if they've grown up some since they had a whitewashing against Peyton Manning several weeks back. They want to see how they'll perform against a great quarterback.
2nd and 7. Here's Falk, a block by Evans into the end zone, and a touchdown. An 11-yard touchdown run by Kevin Falk, his first of the year.
Well, the one thing this offense does very, very well is they take advantage of opportunities. They took advantage of good field position, and then you just watch Falk. He does the rest.
Gostowski will try the extra point. He is a rookie from Memphis. The hold will come from Walter. And it's 7-0 New England. A fake punt by Houston backfires. The Patriots began at the Texans 42. A 15-yard run by Dillon sets up an 11-yard touchdown run by Falk. And 8:06 in the first quarter.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 41. Toyota, moving forward. And by My Plan from Fidelity, retirement planning made easy.
An 11-yard touchdown run by Kevin Falk. 7-0 New England after the Houston Texans faked a punt. They tried to run it, losing it on downs, and they took over at the 42. and the subsequent kickoff. Dexter Wynn, the ex-Eagle, from the 2-yard line for the Houston Texans. Pierre Woods, a rookie from Michigan, brings him down at the 23-yard line and a 22-yard return. 8:01 first quarter, second time for Carr in the offense of the Texans when we come back. A Falk touchdown run by New England after a punt fake by Houston backfires. 7-0 the Patriots. This is Houston's second possession, starting at the 24-yard line. Starters out there defensively for the New England Patriots. Carr with his first pass. There's a block by Winston. A deflected pass intercepted by Richard Seymour. He's brought down by Salam. A turnover. A second mistake by the Houston Texans. The ball will be at the 26. And Richard Seymour has his second career interception on the deflection.
Well, I'll tell you what, he does a great job, first of all, recognizing, watching the quarterback when he's going to launch it. Then he gets his hands up. Then he makes an athletic play and goes up and gets it at its highest point. I mean, that's just a solid play by Richard Seymour. This defensive line, they do a good job zeroing in on these drops, these quick drops by David Carr. They know the ball is going to come out quick.
So after Carr's first pick in his last 64 pass attempts, it is 1st and 10 for the New England Patriots. Chad Jackson, the rookie receiver at the top of your screen. The rookie tight end in the slot, that is Thomas. Dillon in the backfield. It's 1st and 10. Dillon, good block by Graham. And he runs outside where Dante Robinson in the secondary brings him down. He's to about the 22-yard line on a gain of 2.
This is not the way you want to start. If you're the Texans, now your defense back on the field and keep continually giving this New England offense short fields. And Tom Brady and this crew will just kill you. I mean, you just can't give them this many shots, this many opportunities this early. And what you don't want to do on the road is get behind early.
Bad starts have afflicted the Texans all season.
They've been bad in the first quarter. They're solid in the fourth quarter, but at that point it's too late.
2nd down and 8. Good block by Light. Time for Brady. Screen pass caught by Dillon. Brought down by D'Amico Ryans. Hit at about the 19 on a gain of 3.
This is a good screen team, and the reason why they're such a good screen team is this offensive line can run. They can all get out in front, and they do a good job locating and throwing downfield. They get the linebackers on the ground. It's an athletic group up front, and that's why they're one of the better teams in the league in terms of the screen game.
3rd down and 4. They bring in Gaffney. They bring in Falk in the backfield. They've also got Brown, and they've got Riche Caldwell. 6 defensive backs for Houston. 3rd down and 4 from the 18-yard line. Good block by Mankins, and that is dropped by Brown. The coverage by Dante Robinson. There comes a flag late at about the 9.
Dante Robinson's not happy about that. I thought it was pretty good coverage. Now, whether or not he got an arm in there early,
it's going to be on New England.
Wow. Troy Brown for maybe pushing off.
Have you seen more offensive interference this year?
Offense, number 86, blocking downfield. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
And that was on the rookie tight end, David Thomas. But we've seen a lot of offensive calls that way this year.
And what happens is you actually see David Thomas, he goes and releases. He actually probably extends his hands, almost a set a pick for Troy Brown coming back underneath. But yeah, you have seen more of it. And that's usually the penalty right there. When the receivers get the top of their routes, at the top of their stem, and they extend their hands, the officials usually catch that one.
Well, the interception by Seymour sets up this field goal try of 36 yards by Gostowski. He has hit 11 of his last 12, and for the season, 13 of 17, and the 36-yarder here into the wind is good. They cash in on the pick, and just like that, with 6:38 to play in the first, 10-0 New England. We'll get another look at Carr when we come back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Dr. Pepper. With 23 flavors in every Dr. Pepper, there's more to it. And by Victoria's Secret, the sexiest lingerie in the world.
Fake punt by Houston backfiring, leading to a touchdown run by Falk. An interception of Carr by Seymour, leading to a 36-yard field goal. Another kickoff by New England, down 10-0. Houston will take it with Wynn at the 1-yard line. Hit by Rizzo. He got as far as the 14-yard return. Things are clicking for New England in 6:33 in the first. Patriots lost last week at Miami 21-0. Houston lost in overtime to Tennessee in Houston. Get the latest scores, stats, and highlights from around the league. NFL.com is your source. Click on NFL Mobile. With Rich Gannon, Kevin Harlan. We're in Foxborough, which has revved it up a little quiet to begin the game. A fourth receiver has been added, David Anderson. A third receiver is in there, Kevin Walter. There's a flag. They line up with 4 wideouts, and there is some movement, and it's on Houston. They just got to the line.
False start. Offense. Number 84. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Let's go to JB in New York.
Hey, Kevin, you know Chicago can clinch home field throughout with the win here. Take a look. Rex Grossman trying to put together another good game. Up top to the tight end, Desmond Clark. Nice hook up, 24 yards. 7-0 Bears. Kevin and Rich.
They're 5-1 at home, JB. Thanks for the update. 1st and 15, Carr. David Anderson got a great block on the play and moves out to the 30. And then from behind, he is brought down by Banta, Kane, and Sanders. A 27-yard catch and run by David Anderson, his first NFL reception, a rookie off the practice squad from Colorado State.
And it's just a slant route. You see David Carr, just a 3-step throw. The ball is accurate. He puts it in position, and then Bruschi and Scott actually run into each other, and then Anderson just does the rest. You tell me he's pretty excited, pretty anxious about playing in this league.
He's out to the 37 where it's 1st and 10. Ron Dane hit by Bruschi and then brought down by Ty Warren for his 3rd tackle. It's a gain of 3, and he's out to the 40-yard line. Back to JB in our studio.
All right, Kevin and Rich, take a look here. Jets getting it done. Brad Johnson handing off to Travis Taylor. 7-0. They're on top. It was a touchdown added back. It's now all tied at 7. Back to Kevin and Rich.
And the Jets, JB, are coming off a 31-13 loss last week to Buffalo. Thank you. 2nd down and 7. And this is Dane again, careening his way after he is brought down by Vrabel and again by Warren. He's gaining 5, and he's out to the 45-yard line.
Well, Ron Dane's really come on the last couple weeks for the Texans. 182 yards rush in the last 2 weeks, and you know what you get with him. I mean, there's not a lot of cuts, not a lot of moves. He's more of a straight-ahead power back that has the ability to move piles. And as David Carr told us yesterday, when the piles aren't there, somehow, some way, Ron Dane finds a way to make one.
Again, the 4 receivers. They bring in Anderson. They bring in Walter. Still 4 in the secondary. 3rd down and 2 for Carr. Outside, caught. That's Kevin Walter, the ex-Cincinnati Bengal. He's to the 49. He picks up 6. He's got a 1st down. He was covered by Mickens and Samuel on the play. Let's go to Gannon's game points.
Well, if you're the Houston Texans, finish with integrity. A win on the road against a team like the Patriots could do wonders for your organization. For the Patriots, rebound from last week's meltdown in Miami and start your run right now.
Leach is in the backfield. 1st and 10, the Patriot 49. Carr, good block by Leach. That's intercepted on the deflection. This is James Sanders. And he is pushed out of bounds by Leach at the 45. Sanders gets his 2nd career interception, his 1st this year, a 21-yard return as David Carr is picked off for the 2nd time today.
And this, watch Bruschi. He's watching David Carr all the way. He never takes his eyes off him, and he reads that thing out. He does a great job in his zone drops, gets his hands on the ball, and then James Sanders, he has a give me. That one's right in his hands. But David Carr never saw Teddy Bruschi. You have to feel that underneath coverage in zone drops. That's your job as a quarterback, and Carr did not get it done right there.
On the defensive line, the Texans have brought in Antoine Peak and Thomas Johnson, along with Jason Babin. So some changes there for Houston. 1st and 10 after the 2nd interception at the 44. 3rd straight start in Houston territory. Hand off to Dillon. Drilled by D'Amico Ryans. He's down to the 42, and he picks up a yard on the play.
You know, this defense of the Texans is going to get wore out. I mean, they've been on the field most of the first quarter. Their offense has really put them in some bad situations. And really, for this football team to have a chance today, they're going to have to create some plays on the defensive side of the ball. And they're going to have to get their hands on some balls. They're going to have to get some pressure on Tom Brady, find a way to generate some big, explosive plays on defense.
2 tight ends. Falk in the backfield, 2nd down and 9.
Another screen.
And it's caught by Falk. He's got Mankins and Copeland out in front. Look at the blocking. Look at the run. Oh, what a touchdown catch and run of 43 yards by Falk. His 2nd today.
Kevin, we talked about this team being a good screen team, and the reason why is this offensive line can get out and run. You watch Tom Brady, he sets it up, he looks to his right, he comes back to his left, gets the ball in Falk's hands. And look at that offensive line out in front. They're decisive, they're out there throwing, they're getting the defensive lineman on the ground. That's a sign of a good screen team.
So Falk comes up with his 2nd touchdown today. He had a rushing touchdown earlier of 11 yards. Gostowski will try the extra point, which makes it 17-0 New England. 2 Carr interceptions, resulting in 10 points. A fake punt, resulting in another touchdown. 3:31 in the first quarter. David Carr has been intercepted twice. 3 consecutive scores by the New England Patriots, including a great catch and run and a screen pass to Kevin Falk. A season-long reception, 43 yards, 17-0 the New England Patriots.
Wow, this is just an ugly way to start. And that's the difference between these two teams. It's about composure sometimes, and you have to find a way to be able to turn the page. And this team right now, the Texans, they have not done that. They just continue to go out there, make mistakes, and put themselves behind the 8 ball.
So they'll kick it off again, will New England, which came into this game 9-4. And the Texans came into it 4-9. Stowski lets it fly. Dexter Wynn on the 4-yard line for the Houston Texans. It's a block from Walter and then is brought down with a nice special teams tackle by Calvin Kite. 19-yard return, tackle by number 19, Kite. Let's watch that screen pass again.
And just watch this offensive line get out in front and then watch the back. He's just going to be out in front of the screen. He's patient. Tom Brady really sets this up. Pumping, looking to his right. And then again, the crew out in front. I mean, they're just steamrolling people. And that's easy. That's easy for any back to make that run. But again, it gets done because that offensive line can run. They're athletic and they get out there and they're good in space.
Starters are still out there. It is a 1st and 10 from the 21-yard line. That's defensively the starters are out. Anderson is one of the receivers along with Kevin Walter. On 1st and 10, they hand off to Dane, who is tied up by Warren, tripped up by Vrabel. Gain of 5, and he's out to the 26-yard line. A lot of miscues early in the game in their first 3 possessions.
Yeah, they tried the fake punt, and that didn't work. And then they come back, and David Carr gets this ball tipped, and Richard Seymour does the rest. And then again, he never sees Bruschi. And we always talk about starting fast on the road, having some composure. And right now, this group is not getting it done.
2 tight ends, 2nd down and 5. And David Carr, the former number 1 overall pick, and that is incomplete. Looking for Andre Johnson. The coverage by Chad Scott in the secondary for New England.
And one thing you know as a quarterback, if you wait, you're late. You watch David Carr at the top here. This ball's got to come out a little bit quicker. And he's just waiting to make sure, and that gives Chad Scott just enough time to drive on that ball and knock it out of Andre Johnson's hands.
Mickens has come in as a 5th defensive back, so the nickel back there for the New England Patriots. Walter is the 3rd receiver. It is 3rd down and 5 from the 26. Hit by Colvin, brought down, back at the 15. First sack today, and for Roosevelt, Colvin, his 7th of the year. They lose 9. They've got a punt. Let's take you to New York and JB.
Hey, Kevin, Rich says if you wait, you're late. Take a look here. David Garrard handing off to my man, Maurice Jones-Drew. No wait there, buddy. 7-all, Jacksonville, Tennessee. Kevin and Rich.
He had 303 all-purpose yards, JB, last week in the Jacksonville win over the Colts. 3 touchdowns, one right there. Sensational young player out of UCLA. Thanks for the update. Here is another punt coming up for the Houston Texans. First one they actually get off. This is Falk back at the 26-yard line. He breaks a tackle on the play of Moreland Greenwood. Then Michael Stone bangs him out of bounds at about the 40-yard line on a 13-yard return after a 56-yard Chad Stanley punt. Well, tonight on CBS, the ultimate survivor finale. 5 castaways, 3 tribal councils, 2 heart-stopping hours, and 1 ultimate winner. Plus, the biggest surprise yet, the survivor finale and live reunion show tonight on CBS. It is America's #1 network. Here comes another possession for the New England Patriots, their 5th today. They begin at their own 40, 1st and 10. Thomas, the rookie tight end, a slot receiver. Dillon in the backfield. And this is Corey Dillon. Nice penetration on the play by Glenn Earl on a Notre Dame, a loss of 5, and he's back to the 35-yard line.
You know, a lot more emphasis for this defense has been on pressure since the beginning of the season. And I think part of the reason for that is they've gotten behind in games and they realize that they have to be more aggressive defensively. It's the only chance that they have. And we talked with Richard Smith last night. He said sometimes it's like rolling the dice with a guy like Tom Brady. You just never know what's going to happen. If he recognizes the pressure and picks it up, boy, then you're really vulnerable in the back end.
Thomas Johnson, the only non-starter on the defensive line for the Houston Texans. 2nd down and 15. They got Kite in there as an extra receiver. Good block by Light. This is Thomas, who is upended by Earl, who goes head over heels to the 46, an 11-yard catch and run by David Thomas, a 3rd-round pick out of Texas and a rookie.
You just run crossing routes, shallow crosses underneath, and you see the pick. It's a natural pick, and David Thomas just comes out on the other end. The linebackers there have to do a better job of communicating and exchanging there, passing things off. And they didn't get it done right there.
6 in the secondary. Von Hutchins is in there for the Houston Texans. And you can see what happened to the Patriots last week at Miami in the first quarter. They also bring in McCleon. So 6 in the secondary. 3rd down and 4. And Corey Dillon in the backfield.
Double screen. Why not?
Dillon, but look at Shante Warriors right there, slowing him up. And then DeMarcus Fagans comes in to finish him off. A loss of 6. He's back to the 40. And looks like the defense is going to get off the field and force the New England Patriots to punt for a 2nd time in 5 possessions.
Well, the one thing I know about a Bill Belichick coach team, if something's working, he's going to continue to come right back to it. You saw that screen. They're going to continue to try this screen game, get that front of the Texans moving back and forth, and they feel like they're more athletic and they can win that battle.
Ken Walter will be punting. He's kicking into the wind right here. I can see why they're going to let that time wind down.
Those kickers, pretty smart guys.
So is that coach.
That's right.
Well, a rushing touchdown by Falk, a catch and run by Falk, and a field goal at 36. It's been all New England so far. Former Super Bowl quarterback Rich Gannon. This is Kevin Harlan. 17-0. The New England Patriots on top of the Houston Texans. If the Patriots win and the Jets lose, a 4th consecutive division title goes to New England. David Carr has thrown 2 interceptions. Kevin Falk has scored 2 touchdowns. And here is a punt, the 2nd today by New England. And Walter gets it away. Dexter Wind at about the 13-yard line. He's hemmed in. Pierre Woods had him, and then Larry Izzo finishes him off at about the 16-yard line. Flag is down on a 2-yard return and a 46-yard punt. Our referee today is Scott Green.
There's no foul on the play. It was a double team block. We will pick up the flag.
Green worked a couple Super Bowls as a back judge before becoming a referee. He, in essence, took Johnny Greer's place, and Greer retired. 14:48 to play in the half. David Carr's had a tough day. 17-zip, New England. 2 deflected David Carr passes intercepted. 1 by Seymour, 1 by Sanders. This is the 5th possession for the Houston Texans today. 16-yard line, 1st and 10. Ron Dane Brought down by Mike Vrabel. Gain of 4 out to the 20-yard line. Let's step back and take a look at the rugged AFC.
Well, I like New England and I like San Diego in the AFC. I think Indianapolis is heading in the wrong direction. They can't stop the run. Baltimore's got a great defense. I question what they're doing offensively. These teams, I think they're non-factors. The team that I like in the wild card, Jacksonville, keep an eye on them. Cincinnati, they have way too many discipline issues right now.
5 in the secondary, including Mickens. Walter is the third receiver. It's 2nd down and 6, and Carl throws. And it's caught by Andre Johnson, and the coverage and the subsequent tackle made by Ellis Hobbs. No gain on the play. Hobbs out of Iowa State. Now, division leaders, strong teams from top to bottom.
Yeah, in San Diego, I tell you what, they got it going on both sides of the ball. Phillip Rivers has done an unbelievable job this year in just his first real year as a starter. Indianapolis, we did them last week, Kevin. I mean, that was as bad a defensive performance as we've seen all year. Baltimore, again, a question whether they can get it done offensively in New England. They look good right now.
Jarvis Green playing on that defensive line. No changes defensively for the Patriots. 3rd and 6. Carr is hit. There's a fumble on the play. It looks like New England has jumped out at the 16-yard line. It may have been Richard Seymour. Nope, Houston got it. They reeled it back in. Looked like Chester Pitts beat Seymour to it. Nonetheless, they got a punt.
Just watch at the end of this play, you'll see Banacane come in, and David Carr never feels him, never senses that pressure on the backside. You just got to believe that Ephraim Salaam is really struggling with that speed off the edge that the Patriots bring.
Well, they had the rookie Charles Spencer there at that left tackle to begin the season. They love that kid. A broken leg against the Colts week 2. He is out. 2nd sack on Carr. Another punt coming up for Chad Stanley. This will be fair caught. Troy Brown at the 46. There is yellow on the play. And the long snapper, Brian Pittman, I think his momentum more than anything else just carried him into Brown. It was a 30-yard punt with the fair catch at the 46.
Yeah, you talk about being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and just didn't give Troy Brown enough space there to make that fair catch.
That is Houston's 2nd consecutive punt.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 30. Kicking team, hitting receiver after he signaled for a fair catch. 15 yards, 1st down.
Boy, this whole game has been played on Houston's side of the field. 12:53 to play. We're in the 2nd. Big mistake by Pittman. Patriots in great field position again.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the all-new techno-charged Acura RDX, your 240 horsepower turbo search engine. Black & Decker, with powerful solutions for the holidays. And by Radio Shack. For the perfect holiday gifts, get to your neighborhood Radio Shack today.
Carr has been picked off twice, sacked twice, and 2 touchdowns by Falk. And look at the average starting position, which has been in Houston territory for most of the game by the New England Patriots from the 31, 1st and 10. Kite is another receiver. Good block by Kazir. And that is a drop pass by Kite on the deflection. Did Fagans get it? Was it in the air? Did it hit the ground? It is a pick. And Fagans gets it. And it's intercepted at about the 12-yard line. Kite, I'm not even sure he even had the ball. I'm going to have to look at that again.
Well, you can always tell when there's indecision from the officials. They have a group of them standing around looking at each other. But this ball pops right up. Now, whether or not it hits the ground first, and it definitely does.
Clearly. They'll challenge that. It will be wiped away, and the Patriots will. They already have. In fact, they've already made the decision. They had the conference. They ruled one way. They changed it, and so it's still New England's ball. 2nd down and 10. Dillon in the backfield. Maddox is now on the defensive line for the Houston Texans. That is a change in the handoff to Dillon. A block by Mankins and a tackle made by Dante Robinson after a 3-yard gain down to the 27-yard line.
Kevin, you talked a moment ago about the average starting field position for New England, this offense, the 44-yard line of Houston. I mean, that makes things so much easier for Tom Brady in this offense, and not only that, but the play caller. I mean, it's easy to call plays in this part of the field all day when you're starting in these situations. I mean, you can be a lot more aggressive. You can take some chances. You're not worried about a lot of pressure in there.
6 in the secondary. Falk in the backfield. 3rd and 7 for Brady. His receivers are Brown, Gaffney, and in motion is Riche Caldwell. The snap from Copeland. And Brady throws, caught by Caldwell, brought down by Von Hutchins, the ex-Colt. It's a gain to about the 20-yard line. It's a pickup of 8 on 3rd and 7. It's a New England first down. And coming up, the Sprint halftime with JB and gang. Scores, news, and all kinds of highlights from our studios in New York. It's the Sprint halftime next on CBS.
And the one thing the Patriots are doing a good job of right now is the Texans are bringing some pressure, but Tom Brady has some built-in answers, some quick throws to get it out of his hands quick, and that's where he's finding some of those shallow cross routes underneath.
Orr is out. Charlie Anderson is one of the linebackers for the Texans. 1st and 10. Kevin Falk, a block by Kite, and a dive with an Anderson and Glenn Earl tackle at the 17-yard line and a gain of 3.
That's one guy I would have liked to have played with is Falk. Kevin Falk gives you so much versatility. I mean, he's so involved in the kicking game, the return game. He does everything on special teams for them. Then he comes in, he can run the ball. He's great in the passing game. He's a good pass blocker. I mean, he's really a versatile guy. He's done a lot of things over the years for the Patriots.
2 tight ends, 2nd down and 7. The block by Neal. Here comes Brady. The block by Neal gave him the open door, and he slides down to the 12. And touched there by Maddox, and a gain of 3.
Well, it's not something you see a lot of from Tom Brady. But what he does move extremely well in the pocket. He's got a great sense of awareness of what's going on around him. And then he's smart at the end of these runs. I mean, he knows how to get down and protect himself, which is important.
Indeed, Kalu and Orr come in the front 7. They bring in Hutchins. They bring in McCleon defensively for the Texans. 6 in the secondary. 3rd down and 4.
Troy Brown now maybe going to the corner. He's right here in the slot.
Falk is out as a slot receiver, and Brady's going to burn a timeout. That will be the first by New England today. On the move, Brady has thrown a touchdown pass, and New England with 10 to play in the first half, blowing out the Texans. Tom Brady this week, Rich Gannon said not enough players are listening to the coaches. It looks like they've been listening this week.
Yeah, and he's talking about what Bill Belichick's always saying about don't beat yourself. And what Tom told us the other day is we replaced a lot of guys, and some of these younger players, they still don't understand what he's talking about. It's the little things, it's the details, like the false starts and the mental mistakes that have really been holding this football team back. But they seem to have gotten that straightened out today.
After the timeout, 3rd and 4. Watch for Caldwell. He has caught a couple of 3rd down passes from Brady today. Falk at the side of Tom. And Brady will throw, and it is caught at about the 10-yard line. Was it fumbled on the play after the grab by Troy Brown, who they've gone to a couple times with a couple drops already. They call it incomplete. Incomplete pass. They've gone to Brown today a couple times, and 2 drops for Troy, another one right there.
Well, I put this one on Tom Brady, and we go back and watch. Just watch the location of the throw, and Troy Brown, you'll just see him sit down. He's starting to pivot back out, and this ball is actually behind him, and that's not something you usually see from Tom Brady. That's a tough catch. When your body is starting in one way, you plant, and you start working back out, it's hard to adjust that ball when it's behind you.
There's the rookie, Gostkowski, who will try a 32-yard field goal. He has already nailed one from 36. 2 touchdowns by Falk, interceptions by Seymour and Sanders, and 3 more on the board, and 20-0 New England with 9:47 to play. The Patriots have the look of a winner, getting tough, tightening the screws here in December for a playoff run.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by U.S. Army. There's strong, and then there's Army Strong. To find out more, talk to your local recruiter. And by refreshingly smooth Bud Light. Always worth it.
Nothing like a bunch of Santas, and their team is up 20-0 in the second quarter, huh?
That's the Santa School graduation class right there. Saw that on the episode of Cheers the other day.
That's good.
In the hotel.
That's an important diploma to have. Here's a kickoff by Gostkowski, who just kicked his second field goal. It's Wynn from the 7 for the Houston Texans. Corey Mills comes down and makes the special team stop. A rookie from Notre Dame, the starting middle linebacker for the Fighting Irish, and he was reeled in here off the practice squad in November. A 13-yard return. What great New England defense today. It comes in number 8 in the NFL.
And they start fast at home. I mean, they've been relentless, and you see them getting their hands on a number of balls. And David Carr, he's been under duress much of the day. He's had a hard time setting his feet. And this is the way you want to start at home. You want to put pressure on the quarterback, knock him around some, and let him know it's not going to be an easy day here.
Wright is on the line. Jarvis Green is on the New England line. It is 1st and 10. 4 receivers for Carr. Up the middle comes Wright, and he steamrolls Carr back at the 2. A 3rd sack on Carr, and Wright, undrafted out of Cincinnati, taking the place of the injured Vince Wilfork, untouched.
Yeah, what happens is the center turns him loose. It's a screen, and he turns him loose too soon. And Mike Wright, watch the center. He's going to get out in front of him. He's starting to run for the screen. The back's not ready, and David Carr has nowhere to go with that. But that's the great thing about this defense. Mike Wright stepping in for Vince Wilfork, and they don't miss a beat.
It's a loss of 13, back to the 7, 2nd and 23. The handoff to Wally Lundy, a rookie out of Virginia. And he was brought down by Jarvis Green. The gain to the 9, a pickup of 2. David Carr has had a lot of attention behind the line of scrimmage in his career.
Well, the injuries and the lack of production along this offensive line has really been a problem and concern all year. And when you think about it, they've got so many different starting combinations. That'll make your head spin. And I know that's unsettling to a quarterback like David Carr.
5th defensive back is Mickens. 3rd wide receiver is Walter. It's 3rd down and 20. And Carr low, and it looked like it was on a hop, and Andre Johnson did not get it. Hit the ground, they got a punt. Think of what Brady has gone through, same system since he was a rookie. Think what Carr has gone through since he was drafted number 1.
Well, in his defense, he was forced to learn a number of different systems in his short career. He's had a number of different coordinators, play callers, quarterback coaches, and I really think it's taken its toll and it's hurt him some. It's probably stunted his growth somewhat, and that's one of the reasons why Gary Kubiak has had to go back to the beginning with him, try and retrain him.
This is the 3rd straight 3 and out for the Houston Texans. And they're coming at Stanley, and Heath Evans just about got him. The punt is away and caught by Falk, who gets away from Hutchins, then is drilled by Antoine Peak at the 35. But again, starting in Houston territory, that was a 37-yard punt with an 11-yard return. Well, this weekend marks the anniversary of the snowplow game. December 82, Dolphins and Pats. Game tied at 0. Mark Henderson, a work release parolee, used his snowplow to clear the kicking surface for kicker John Smith, booting a 33-yarder, a game-winning field goal, 3-0 New England over Miami. Happened this weekend years ago. Injured player down, and that is Troy Evans of Houston, walking off with 8:28 to play in the 2nd quarter. The New England Patriots are set to start for a 5th time in 7 possessions in Houston territory. 2 touchdowns by Falk, 1 on the ground, 1 through the air. Brady the touchdown pass, a couple of field goals, 2 interceptions of Carr. Lining up now at the 34-yard line, where it is 1st down and 10 with 2 tight ends. Here comes Mario Williams. Moving up in the pocket is Brady, who's brought down by Jason Babin at the 39. That is the 1st sack, and for Babin, his 5th sack of the season, a loss of 4.
The pass protection was a problem a week ago. And don't think Houston wasn't watching. But this is just a question of, it's a coverage sack. Tom Brady's got plenty of time. He's able to set his feet, look down the field, and just nowhere to go with the ball.
Just wondered how much Houston had in the tank after last week's emotional loss to Vince Young and the Tennessee Titans. 2nd down and 14. They need the 24. Stops. They had brought in Evans in the backfield, and that is a penalty against the Patriots.
False start. Offense, number 70. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
We knew Houston would be emotionally spent.
Yeah, you know what? That was a big game for them last week, and they wanted to win it. They played very, very well, and to have Vince Young do what he did in that last play, I took a lot of wind out of their sails. They were spent, The coaches talked about in the locker room after the game, they just didn't have a lot left. In fact, on Wednesday, they were so beat up, they had a 2-hour walkthrough. They didn't even have a practice, and that's how sore this crew was from that game last week. A very physical game last week against Tennessee.
6 in the secondary, 2nd down 19. First penalty against the Patriots. Back to the 43. They need the 24. Dillon And stiff arms his way into Fagans, knocked out of bounds by D'Amico Ryans. I don't think he had any gain on the play whatsoever. He didn't. He remains at the 43.
And that's what you want to do with a back like Corey Dillon. I mean, you want to get upfield. Penetration is always devastating in the running game, but force him to run east and west. I mean, that's not Corey Dillon's strength. I mean, he's the kind of guy that makes one cut, he heads downhill and uses that big body of his to move piles and to create yardage. But that's what you want to do. Force him, have good gap control, and force him to run to the boundary.
3rd and 19. 6 remain in the secondary. Falk in the backfield. Gaffney, Brown, and Caldwell are the 3rd receivers. There are 3 receivers for Brady.
2-man rush.
And downfield, Brady almost picked off by Earl and looked like he was going for Riche Caldwell. Incomplete. And the New England Patriots will have to punt the ball.
And just watch this. They're only going to rush 2 defensive linemen. And what will happen is they'll drop the rest. That's 9 men in coverage. And you can see the Patriots keep 6 in the block. So you just do the math. There's not a lot of places to throw that ball. In that situation, you love for your quarterback to be able to pull it down and run. Pick up some yardage and maybe get you a field goal in that situation.
Order to punt once again. Ronnie Paxton with the long snap. Dexter Wynn. And down nicely by Tully Banacane. 34-yard punt down to about the 10-yard line. Make it the 9-yard line for the New England Patriots. Well-placed punt by Walter. Well, you've seen them walk the red carpet. Now see them walk the beat. Watch what happens when real celebrities become real cops. Armed and Famous coming in January to CBS, America's #1 network.
You just got everything going in the right direction for the Patriots, and for the Texans, boy, they just can't make anything happen on either side of the ball.
4 in the secondary for the make it 5 now. They'll make it 4. They keep the 4 back there on 1st and 10. Ron Dane in the secondary, and look at him steamroll his way out to the 29-yard line. He was brought down by Samuel along with Roosevelt Colvin. A 19-yard grinding run by Dane.
And watch Leash out in front block. And the only thing that surprises me, watch these defenders try and tackle him up high. Why would you try and tackle a guy like Ron Dane up high? I mean, that's where his strength is. You want to hit a guy like that down low. That's really your only chance against a big 245-pound back.
1st and 10. Dane again. And here they smother him with a scrum. Bruschi among others right there. Gain of 3 to the 32.
And we talked about double and Andre Johnson, your best player, but you know, David Carr's had a frustrating day. I mean, even when he's had him open, he's missed him. He's put it behind him. He's caught some passes underneath. But that throw, that last one troubled me because you have a simple slant route. I mean, this is something you do from day one. The protection's good. It's just a 3-step drop, and he misses the throw. I mean, you can't do that. You have to find a way to get your best receiver the ball in space and let him go to work.
Warren and Seymour and Wright on that defensive line. 2nd down and 7 for Carr. Hit and brought down. Tully Banacane. 4th sack of Carr. And they drive him back to the 24, loss of 8.
And you see the confusion up inside. The left guard and tackle, they're moving outside. They missed that stunt back up inside. And that's just a communication issue along that offensive line. And this has been a problem all season long. The communication, the pass protection. It's one of the reasons why David Carr has been one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the National Football League over the last 5 seasons.
Mickens is the nickel corner now for the New England Patriots. 3rd and 15 from Carr, who throws, and it's dropped by Andre Johnson with the coverage by Sanders, who already has an interception today of Carr. And the Texans have got a punt for a 4th consecutive time. Although Ron Dane's 19-yard run gave him some breathing space.
You can see the frustration on Gary Kubiak's face. I mean, I'll tell you what, David Carr is lucky that they don't have a veteran quarterback behind him. And right now, you might see David Carr on the sidelines. I mean, you just can't start games like this and expect to stay in there and get more opportunities.
Chance Stanley to punt again. And Kevin Falk from the 23-yard line for the New England Patriots gets by Taylor, chased by Anderson, and tied up by Owen Daniels, the starting tight end. A 10-yard return, a 53-yard punt. Well, the 2 quarterbacks, Carr and Brady,
And this is the one that jumps out. Yeah, the touchdowns, the interceptions. And I'm always concerned when a quarterback has more career interceptions than touchdowns. You see Brady over there. I mean, he's had a flawless start to his career, but that's something that David Carr has to get straightened out. I mean, he's cut down on some of the ugly decisions and some of the interceptions this year that have kind of hurt him in the past, but the way he started out this game in the first half, I mean, he's reverted back to his old ways, and you can see Gary Kubiak over there talking to him right now, trying to get some of that sorted out, looking at the pictures. They got to find a way. We talked about this, Kevin, all week, about starting games on the road fast. And this has just been a poor start for Houston.
-1 yard for Carr. As you take a look at Brady, there's a special teams player down for the Houston Texans, and let's see if I can pick up a number here. Charlie Anderson, who has been playing more defensive snaps of late. They like his progress. So what do they do about Carr? I mean, they triggered the option this past spring. They passed up on Young. They passed up on Bush. Do they stay with Carr through this offseason into next year?
Well, I think that's a decision that this organization is going to have to revisit. And, I mean, there has been some growth. And, again, we talked about what he has around him to work with. But still, good players find ways to make plays. And I just don't see enough of that from him. And I want to see a little more emotion out of him. I mean, sometimes you got to get mad in this business. You got to get upset. You got to demand it out of your teammates.
Here is Evans on 1st and 10. And he plows ahead for about 3 yards. He's up to the 36-yard line and brought down by Lionel Dalton.
You know, that's the thing, Kevin, you and I talked about with Tom Brady. I mean, this guy has a certain presence about him. I mean, he exudes confidence, and his teammates are convinced in a pressure situation there's nobody better. I mean, they've seen it from him time and time again. I mean, he's got a track record, and that's what makes him so special.
Kelvin Kite is one of the receivers. Caldwell the other side, 2nd down and 7.
Right, so
Corey Dillon against Earl, and corkscrews his way up to the 39 on a gain of about 3 yards. You talk about presence, and it's never more apparent than in the huddle. And I guess what fellow teammates feel, hey, we've got a guy here that can get us back in the game.
It is. It's the way you talk. It's the way you communicate. It's your eyes. It's the look on your face. And these linemen, you look at them, they're just staring at Tom. They're watching his eyes. They're watching his movement, his facial expressions. They know a guy who's confident. They know a guy who has answers in pressure situations, and they know a guy who can deliver.
Dillon is in, 3rd down and 3. Rookie tight end atop your screen, Thomas. Now he comes in motion. 6 in the secondary for Houston. Brady caught Riche Caldwell. He's grabbed by Fagans. The tackle at the 30, make it 45-yard line. He picks up 5 on 3rd and 3. And now Brady has passed on all 8 third downs today. That's a 1st down for New England.
And he's doing a good job spreading around, getting everybody involved, and the backs, the receivers, and he's been very efficient. You look at his numbers, 9 of 15, 82 yards, the touchdown, and then, of course, David Carr. He's gotten off to a poor start, just 3 of 8.
1st and 10. Corey Dillon. There's a block by Neal and a tackle by Ryans. The gain down to the 48, pickup of 7 on the play. You talked to Bob Kraft on Friday, and he relayed a story about Brady when he was just a young quarterback on this team trying to make a name for himself.
Yeah, I got a kick at it. He said he was in his first year, and he saw this gentleman walking out of the facility late at night carrying a pizza in his hand around 8 o'clock, and he went up to him, and Tom Brady said, Mr. Kraft, I'm Tom Brady. And Mr. Kraft said, I know who you are. We drafted you. And he said, I'm going to tell you something. You're not going to be disappointed. I'm going to make you proud of what I do here with this organization. You, Mr. Kraft got a big kick out of that. He said, this guy's been everything we could have asked for and more.
2nd down and 3. And Brady winding up and going deep and looking for Caldwell. There go the flags. Dante Robinson was covering on the corner for the Texans and was caught. Caldwell is having a career year after playing the first 4 seasons with the San Diego Chargers.
Interference. Defense. Number 23. Ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. 1st down.
And this is what happens when you're a defensive back. You just watch Dante Robinson. He's late finding the ball. And what happens is they panic. And you see him there. Now he's just reacting, and he knows that Caldwell has the ability to run by him. And so what does he do? He pushes. and the officials are right there to make that call. But that's what usually happens with corners. They panic when they don't find the ball, and then they just react either by grabbing or by pushing.
In essence, a 36-yard penalty to the 12. It's first down and 10. Falk is in the slot as a receiver. And Brady with the first down. Caught by Caldwell. And he was hit by Moreland Greenwood on a gain of 1 to the 11-yard line with the timeout. Nope, that's the 2-minute warning. 20-0 New England. Patriots are on the move. 2-minute warning here in the first half with Rich Gannon, Kevin Harlan. Kevin Falk with the rushing touchdown, a catch and run. Brady the touchdown pass. Seymour and Sanders with interceptions. David Carr has been sacked 4 times. Second down and 9 from the 11 for Tom Brady. To Corey Dillon, a block by Evans, and a good one it was, and dancing his way down to the 6 is Dillon, who's brought down by Greenwood, a gain of 5 on the play. Well, coming up, the Sprint Halftime Report. JB and crew from New York. News, highlights, scores, and an update on the playoff picture. The Sprint Halftime Report coming up next. It'll be 3rd and 4.
This Patriots offense has done a good job attacking underneath zones today against this Texans defense. A lot of pivot routes, a lot of shallow crosses. Tom's done a good job getting underneath in front of those dropping zone linebackers.
6 in the secondary. Falk is in the backfield for Brady. 3rd down and 4 from the 6. Here comes Shante Orr. There goes Brady. Caught for a touchdown. And grabbed by Jabbar Gaffney, the ex-Houston Texan. It's a 6-yard strike, and Brady has thrown his second touchdown pass today.
Again, the protection's good. Tom Brady's got enough time to set his feet. You see Gaffney in the back of the end zone. Caldwell in the flat, just a high-low read for Tom. That's an easy throw and catch.
Gaffney's been an interesting story. He left Houston after 4 years. He was signed by Philadelphia in the offseason, cut. And he was signed here in October because they have had all kinds of issues with the extra point by Gostowski going through. Doug Gabriel was cut this week. They lost their 2 starters last year, Gibbons and Branch. Brady hasn't missed a beat. His 22nd touchdown pass of the season. 1:11 to play in the first. Tom Brady and the offense have scored on 5 of their last 7 possessions. Brady with 2 touchdown passes today. Gaffney gets his first touchdown pass in a New England uniform and the 8th of his career. And this is a whitewash of a game in Foxborough.
And again, we talked about how every unit, every phase of the game for the Patriots has fallen into place. I mean, they're getting big tackles and their coverage units on the kicking game from special teams. Their defense is generating a lot of turnovers in field position for the offense, and then the offense has been able to go out there and really have their way with this Houston defense by running the ball and by throwing it downfield and taking some shots in the red zone.
Patriots can clinch the division with the win and a New York Jets loss. The Jets are in Minnesota. An update on that game moments away, and this is a great kickoff by Gostowski, which is left in the end zone by Wynn. Back to the 20-yard line and to the 20, 1st and 10.
Now you just watch. They're going to have one go to the corner and one run a little flat route. And that's what you talk about, a high-low read. And then Tom's just going to either look at, see if that defender jumps the first one, and then he knows he has the one in the corner. And that's just an easy decision, easy throw for Tom Brady. It defined itself so clearly because it was man-to-man coverage.
On the 21st down and 10, Walter is the 3rd receiver. Mickens is in there as the 5th defensive back, the nickel back. And in the backfield, they've got Waleed Lundy. Here's Carr, caught by Owen Daniels, who is a rookie tight end out of Wisconsin. Hit by Gus Scott, who was a Texan earlier in the season. That's a gain of 8. He's to the 28-yard line.
And we always talk about these situations. Just forget the score. Just relax. Just go out and play. Just make some good reads, good decisions, and good throws.
Houston with 3 timeouts. There's a block by Salam and a dump off and a screen pass with Hopkins out there leading the way for Lundy. And the tackle was made by Chad Scott. About the 40-yard line, a catch and run at 12 yards. It is a first down, and the Texans burn their first timeout. They've got 2 remaining. You can take a look at Waleed Lundy out of Virginia.
And you can just see the difference in the screen game between the two teams. And the Patriots do a great job of running in this offensive line. The Texans a little stiffer, don't run as well in space.
You've led in games like this before. How hard is it to keep your concentration coming out of that halftime locker room and then continuing what you've established in the first half?
Well, I think that it's not that difficult. I think that in these situations for a football team, it's fun. I mean, you know you got to lead. You know you can be aggressive. You know, there's not a lot of pressure in these situations, and you just go out and have fun. And what happens is both units start feeding off each other. The defense starts creating turnovers and field position, and the offense just goes out there and capitalizes. And that's kind of the way this game is going, the flow of this game for the Patriots so far.
Walter, the third receiver. Mickens is the fifth defensive back. It is a first down after the timeout by Houston. Here comes Colvin. He was held by Winston. No flag. He's being chased by Green and chased by Seymour, and it's incomplete. Wisely throwing it away is David Carr, who has been under duress most of today. 4 sacks. Upcoming is second down and 10.
Well, that front seven of the Patriots, I mean, that's a pretty special group, you know, and it's all led by the two guys inside, Bruschi and Rabel. I mean, they get after you. You see 3 first-half shutouts this season. This is a defense that starts fast at home. They've only allowed 2 touchdowns in the first quarter all season. And it's a veteran group that knows how to play.
Gus Scott has been brought in as a 6th defensive back, second down and 10, and that is intercepted. Dropped by Asante Samuel as he stepped right in front of Eric Moulds. And incomplete.
And Kevin, what happens is this secondary knows that David Carr in this offense, it's predominantly 3- and 5-step throws. It's quick rhythm throws. And so what do? They sit on routes. They're not worried about somebody running by them in the passing game. They're going to sit and drive on these little hook routes, these short intermediate routes, and that's what you saw right there from Samuel.
Still 6 in the secondary, third down and 10. 41-yard line. Blocked by Salam, time for Carr. He finds Andre Johnson. Flag is down at the 41. The tackle was made by Chad Scott at the 46. A gain of 6 on the play as it stands now.
Looking at the Patriots, they're starting to indicate that it's against the Texans. You'd have to think that would be against Andre Johnson for maybe pushing off.
Single formation offense. Wide receiver was covered. It'll be 4th down. The penalty is declined.
Man,
and they'll punt.
This should never happen. In a legal formation, you can't win in the National Football League if you can't get lined up. I mean, that's the bottom line. And you can see the frustration from Gary Kubiak. I mean, these guys are being paid a lot of money. And you're asked to do certain jobs, and one of your first jobs is to know whether or not you need to cover up the line of scrimmage. The tackle needs to be covered. If you're a wide receiver, you need to know whether you're on or off the ball, and that's just day one. That's elementary football right there.
Texans today have run only 1 play in New England territory. Only 1. The punt coming up again. Chad Stanley off the side of his foot. And luckily for him, it takes a great bounce, which will be down by Von Hutchins at the 16-yard line. Yeah, touch the ball. 38-yard punt. Stanley shakes his head in disgust. It's been that kind of first half for Gary Kubiak, who enjoyed such great success as a play caller with Denver. And in talking with various people in the organization, I mean, what this group found when they arrived in Houston was not pretty.
No, it was a mess, and I think that's part of the dilemma right now for Gary Kubiak as a play caller. I mean, he wants to be aggressive, but with that approach, he realizes they open themselves up in way too many areas, and therefore he's got to be more conservative. He realized that gives him the best chance, and he told us, he said, hey, look, remember this, our backup quarterback, he's been here 2 weeks. And so, I mean, they're limited in terms of their personnel, what they can do, and that's tough if you're Gary Kubiak.
5 consecutive punts conclude the first half for the Houston Texans. What a half for the Patriots. A couple of Brady touchdown passes. 2 touchdowns by Falk. 27-0 New England at the half.
CBS Sports presents the Sprint Halftime Report. Sprint together with Nextel. Power up.
Tom Brady has thrown 2 touchdown passes. David Carr has thrown 2 picks. That's our score at halftime with Rich Gann and Kevin Harlan. Coming back off of last week's loss in Miami, did you think that New England would play this well today?
No, Kevin, you could almost guarantee it. I mean, remember, this is a team that's 18-4 since 2000 under Belichick. They know how to play in December, and when the playoff time start rolling in, this team knows how to kick it in gear, and that's what we're seeing today.
You picked some pretty good highlights, too. A lot of them New England, obviously, from our first half. On a variety of ways they have scored. First of all, Kevin Falk on that touchdown run with some great blocking by Evans on that play. And then continually harassing Carr, picking him off twice, sacking him 4 times. And Jabbar Gaffney grabs this one in the corner.
It's just a question of one team taking advantage of opportunities and creating field position, the other team not doing that. You look at the pressures on the quarterback, but look at the plays in the opponent's territory. I mean, 24 for the Patriots and just 1 for Houston. I mean, they have not done a good job creating any field position for themselves offensively or defensively.
And through 30 minutes of football, you see some of our numbers. Belichick has chosen to kick into the wind in the second half. Best to have it in the fourth quarter. And here comes Dexter Wynn from the 15-yard line. Shoved out of bounds by Ellis Hobbs, among others, a 14-yard return.
Well, Dexter Wynn's been busy today, hasn't he?
He has. He's been back there retrieving kickoffs. Here comes a look at David Carr to begin the second half.
Again, the importance, Kevin, of just going out, forgetting about the first half, just trying to put some drives together, make some good decisions, and really the big thing, just 2 catches for 5 yards for Andre Johnson. That's their big play guy. They have to find a way to get him the ball.
No changes defensively for the New England Patriots or offensively for the Houston Texans. Ron Dayne on 1st and 10 gets by Banta Kane, then brought down by Sanders and Hawkins in the secondary. 13-yard run to the 43.
And I can only imagine what Gary Kubiak told this team in the locker room at halftime, but rest assured, I know they're going to come out and put forth a better effort than what we saw in the first half. I mean, these guys are pros, and that's what you'd expect.
Have you ever been in a game where you trailed at halftime 27-0?
I have. I'm sure I have. I can't remember, thank goodness.
Dane's got 61 yards rushing, 1st and 10. Screen pass to Dane. There's a block by Pitts and a tackle made by Wright on that defensive line near midfield. A catch and run of 7 yards.
And that's one of the things that's probably not a strength of Ron Dayne's, and that's why you see a little bit more Wally Lundy in those situations. Ron Dayne, maybe a little bit of a little issue in terms of what he brings in terms of the passing game, and that's why you don't see him in there as much in those situations.
Well, he played for Kubiak at Denver. On the 50, 2nd down and 3. Texans' deepest penetration has been the New England 49. There's a block by Dane. Time for Carr on the money to Andre Johnson, who is tackled by Artrell Hawkins. 41-yard line. 9-yard gain, another first down for the Houston Texans.
And again, you see if David Carr, you give him time to set his feet, he can be a pretty accurate throw. I mean, he's completing almost 70% of his passes. And Andre Johnson leading the National Football League coming into today's game with 92 catches. I mean, he is their big play threat. And they have to find a way to get him the ball in space and maybe get him some shots down the field where he can go up and get it and use his body.
David Anderson is the 3rd receiver. 1st and 10 handoff. This is Dane again, who is brought down on the play by Tully Banta Kane. Gain of 4. And down to the 37.
Now, this is a positive start. One of the things that really held this team back in the first half was first down. They weren't very good on first down, whether it was running or passing. And now we're seeing a little bit better job here in the second half. I mean, it's a lot easier to call plays on 2nd and 6 than it is on 2nd and 10 and 2nd and 12. And that's what happened to them in the first half.
2nd down, 6. Walter is the 3rd receiver. Only 4 in the secondary for the Patriots. And the throw is caught by Eric Moulds, who is grabbed at the 30-yard line by Asante Samuel. Gain of 8, another first down. And the first catch today by Moulds, who has been a terror against the Patriots in his days with Buffalo.
And he looks so much more comfortable. Look at David Carr in the pocket. I mean, his footwork looks better. He looks stronger in the pocket. He looks like he's playing with more confidence already. And it's just the difference of setting his feet, making good decisions and accurate throws, and that's what he can do if you give him enough protection.
Vontae Leach is the fullback. Dane gets the handoff on 1st and 10. And he is brought down at the 27-yard line. He was hit by Colvin, hit by Sanders, and a gain on the play of 3 to, again, the 26.
Kevin, we're talking to you yesterday about this. I've never faced a defense as a player with more confidence than this group with the Patriots. I mean, despite the score, the situation, in any game that we have played against each other, I mean, they just felt like they were better than you, and regardless, they were going to win. I mean, it was that simple with these guys, and I mean, I think that really starts trickling down to even the younger players. They know they're better than you.
2nd and 7. Carr slings it down the sideline, looking for Moulds. The catch is made. The coverage by Samuel, a 12-yard gain, another first down. Mark him at the 14-yard line.
And this is what they need to do with Carr. Get him out on the edge where he's probably more comfortable and let him work some of these comeback routes on the sidelines. That's a good catch and throw. Good job by Eric Moulds on the sidelines, realizing where he was and getting his feet in. But David Carr, as in the past, has been a more accurate thrower outside the pocket. I mean, he's an athletic guy. He can run and use his legs, and it gets him away from some of that pressure and push-up side.
2 tight ends, including Bruner. Here's a first down handoff to Dean, busting free past the 10. Hit by Sanders at about the 4, and close to a first down, which would have been the 4-yard line. Let's see where they spot it. It's about a 10-yard rumble up the middle by Dane, who is the NCAA's all-time leading rusher.
And this is not what the Patriots want to see. They don't want to see Ron Dane get started and get going. And he can do it. I mean, he is a guy that he's one of those backs that the more carries he gets, the more comfortable he becomes.
2 tight ends, Bruner, one of them, 1st and goal. This is Dane climbing over Brewski and diving into the grasp after a gain of 3 to the 1 of Chad Scott. 2nd and goal.
And you can see Belichick and that they're not happy with this start in the second half. I mean, they want their defense to go out and get off the field. 3 and outs, that's what they talk about. That's what they preach. And you don't want to ever give a team like the Texans a chance to get back in it. A chance that they believe that they can make some plays and be back in this game with a quick score.
2nd down and goal. Dane following Leach, grabbed by Seymour, and touchdown. He got in there. The shutout is gone, which I'm sure was something on the mind of Belichick through one half of football. Ron Dane gets a 3rd touchdown run of the season. And the Texans are on the board with a very impressive first drive coming out of the half.
And you watch the push up front. Actually, some of the Texans were laid off the ball, and then Ron Dane just does the rest himself. I mean, he's just stretching and reaching, just trying to get every last inch. You see him extend the ball and get it over the goal line there for the score.
Dane has had a nice little run here the last 3 weeks. The extra point is good by Chris Brown. Dane had 34 rushing yards on that drive, 9:49 in the 3rd. The Heisman Trophy winner out of Wisconsin, Ron Dane, who was let go by Denver back in early September, and then Gary Kubiak reeled him into Houston. He had a rough start, but he has had 3 consecutive games of effective running. The shutout is gone for New England. Here is the subsequent kickoff. And this is Ellis Hobbs from the 7-yard line, finding daylight, and there he goes! Chased by Shante Orr, he is gone! A 93-yard kickoff return! Touchdown in the career, just only 2 years in the league for Ellis Hobbs, and a terrific run right up the gut.
Watch this block. I mean, this is the block right here. I mean, that's devastating. You just watch, and that's the one that sprung him, and Ellis Hobbs just does the rest. I mean, a speedy corner that's the great thing about the Patriots. They have all their players contribute in some phase of the kicking game, and Ellis Hobbs doing it there in the return.
Gostowski puts it through. I think that was the young rookie Willie Andrews, number 23, who had that block that sprung Hobbs for 93, 9:37 in the 3rd.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 41. Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. And by new men's Rogaine foam. Use it or lose it.
Beautiful day in the New England area. Ellis Hobbs just raced 93 yards for a touchdown. First kickoff return TD going back to Johnson in the 04 season for New England. Here's Gostowski's kickoff. And from the 3-yard line, Dexter Wynn. And he finds a seam before he's brought down by Gus Scott. 24-yard return out to the 26. A look at Carr in the offense and 9:32 in the third coming up. Patriots have scored on special teams. They've scored with 2 Brady touchdown passes, 2 touchdowns by Falk. Carr, who is 4 of 4 on the last drive, and watch Dane take it over from a yard away. Winds up at the 26, 1st and 10. And a pass caught by Andre Johnson, grabbed by Sanders, 32-yard line, and a gain of 5. The NFL lost a great friend this past week with the passing of Chiefs owner and founder Lamar Hunt. More importantly, from a national perspective, he began the AFL with some big-name players like people like Bud Adams and Baron Hilton and others. On a 2nd and 5, a handoff goes to Dane for a marginal gain. But he was a man revered in so many circles by people in Kansas City and, of course, around the country. And we lost him this past week at the age of 74.
And Kevin, as you know, I had a chance to be a part of that organization for 4 years in Kansas City. I'm biased, but I really believe he was the greatest owner in all sports. It was never about him. He was the most humble, decent human being I ever met.
3rd down and 4, Carr, and Moulds caught it. Did he stay in bounds? They say he did. He beat Asante Samuel at the 37, picks up 4. That is good for a Houston Texans first down.
And you can see Asante Samuel, he's kind of laughing. He realizes, I mean, he's got good coverage, and this is just a great throw and catch on the sidelines. And you hear the crowd. But I tell you what, that's good concentration by Eric Moulds. Extending his hands and making sure his feet are in bounds.
1st and 10. This is Dane again, hit by Bruschi and grabbed by Colvin, and picks up about a yard to the 37-yard line. They wanted to go with the nickel, and there were too many people on the field, so Ray Mickens quickly raced off the field for the Patriots.
And you got to keep an eye on Ron Dane and how he does. I mean, the weight and his conditioning has always been a concern over his career, and his ability to carry the load, whether or not he can carry the ball for 30 or 35 times in a game. And you got to think he's going to get a lot of work here in the second half.
Now Mickens is in as a 5th defensive back. 2nd down and 10. Walter is the 3rd receiver for Carr. Gets a block from Salam. And that is incomplete. They were going for Moulds, who is covered by Asante Samuel. It'll be 3rd and 10.
Tell you what, Samuel's doing a nice job at the top of these routes. And you just watch this throw, and whether or not Eric Moulds is continuing to come back out of his break. And that's what you want to see from your receiver, working his way back through the throw, putting his foot in the ground at the top of the stem, planting and coming back and not stopping, because what that does, it allows a defensive back like Samuel to drive on that throw.
Carr had hit his last 7 until that incompletion, 3rd and 10. Carr going deep, and he's got Andre Johnson. Oh, and Johnson lost it. Whether he lost it in the lights, he was covered on the play by Chad Scott, or he just lost it, period. But that was a play where he was open, and the pass was pretty well thrown.
Well, you know what? When you got him like this, you got to hit him. And you got to give your receivers a chance. And this is you got to make that one. That's a bad throw by David Carr. I mean, you can't expect your receiver to have to readjust his entire body to make a catch on the sideline.
So they got a punt. And Stanley will boot it. And Falk circles under it at the 18-yard line, gets a block from Troy Brown, and is finally brought down from behind at the 27-yard line by Troy Evans. Injured earlier, makes the stop right there, 7:25 in the 3rd.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Best Buy. Wrap up the wow this holiday season, only at Best Buy. And by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Ron Dane spoiled the shutout bid by the New England Patriots with a 1-yard touchdown run. Houston just punted, 1st and 10. This is Corey Dillon. And he spins into the grass, but Babin picks up 3 yards. He's out to the 31-yard line. Let's take a look at the NFC playoff picture.
Well, I look at New Orleans. That's a team that I really like. Chicago, I'm concerned with Rex Grossman. I don't trust him as far as I can throw him. Dallas had an impressive win last night. Seattle, they're heading in the wrong direction. These teams here, in my opinion, they're pretenders and not contenders. And then you look at those teams in the hunt. Atlanta lost last night. Minnesota's losing right now.
Chad Jackson, a receiver atop your screen, the rookie. Second down and 7. And David Thomas, who is brought down by Jason Simmons at the 38. And a gain of 6 on the play. And some important scores. Jarek Mangini and his Jets on a 23-7 run on Minnesota right now.
Yeah, and they've been inconsistent all year and haven't gotten enough solid play out of their quarterback, Brad Johnson. And you look at Tampa Bay, boy, they've had a rough go of it. You don't have stability. You don't have a lot of solid play from that quarterback position. Boy, it makes for a long season.
Third down and 1 from the 38. Rookie Thomas, the rookie Jackson out there for Tom Brady, and this is Dillon. Oh, we got a great block on the side from Kelvin Kite. It's a gain of 3, and Dillon is out to the 41, brought down by Orr and brought down by Greenwood. It's a first down, but that kid right there, Kite, off the practice squad and out of Florida, sealed off that corner and got him the first down.
And you think he's excited. He knows, he realizes what's coming down the road here in the month of January. He's got a chance to make some plays and contribute. And when you get on the field with this group, you realize it's a privilege. You don't want to be the one to let the crew down. And great opportunity today for Kite. I mean, this is a chance to get some reps.
First and 10. Fake end around to Caldwell. Here comes Lionel Dalton. They have a screen pass, which is read beautifully by Dante Robinson. And down goes Dillon at the 41 with no gain on the play. Tom Brady, who continues to have great statistics, in the breadth of his career, especially in the month of December, where he is almost unbeatable.
You look at those numbers, 11-1, a quarterback rating of 90. I mean, he's just been solid, and you need that, especially in this city. It's a great cold weather quarterback and dealing with the elements. You need that here in New England. No one's been better over the course of their career than Tom Brady in the month of December.
Brady is 13 of 19. Second down and 10. 5 in the secondary for the Houston Texans. A good block by Light. A dump off to the rookie tight end Thomas. And a tackle made by the linebacker Greenwood, the ex-Dolphin, at the 48. That's a catch and run of 7 yards. As we take you to New York and JB.
Speaking of catch and run, Kevin and Rich, take a look here. Kyle Bowler, career long pass completion, up top, 77 yards, hooking up with Demetrius Williams. Baltimore back on top of Cleveland by the score of 24-17. Kevin and Rich.
All right, JB, they won by 10 at Kansas City last week. If they win, they'll clinch a playoff berth. And more, Cincinnati would go on to lose. 3rd and 3. Thanks for the update from the 48-yard line for Brady, who's got Evans in the backfield as fullback. There's the pitch out right beautifully by the number 1 overall pick, Mario Williams, tossing him for a loss of 7 on the play. Back to the 41-yard line, and the Pats have got a punt back to JB.
Hey, Kevin, defense getting it done for Tennessee. Take a look at David Garrard carrying the ball precariously here. Pays for it. Slapped loose. Picked up by Cortland Finnegan. He promptly takes it 92 yards to pay dirt. Titans on top 17-10. Both scores defensive for Tennessee. Kevin and Rich.
JB, you know what's surprising about that's the number 32 defense in the NFL of the Titans, and a big play there, and playing a red-hot Jacksonville team tough. Thank you. Here is the punt by Ken Walter, and Dexter Wynn will let it bounce and roll inside the 15, down at the 14-yard line by Mays. 45-yard punt by Walter. Pats on top, 3:05 in the 3rd. Tom Brady with a couple touchdown passes for the New England Patriots, who have won 3 of their last 4 games, although coming off the loss last week in Miami. From the 14 after the New England punt, 1st and 10 Houston. Dane in the backfield, 5 in the secondary for New England. And Carr intercepted by Ellis Hobbs. He's returned a kickoff 93 yards for a touchdown. He's tripped up here by Walter. Hobbs is down inside the 30. It's another interception of Carr. The 3rd he is thrown today. Hobbs comes up with his 2nd interception of the season.
Well, I'll tell you what, he had no business throwing that one. And these are the ones we talk about, Kevin, you don't want to put on film. I mean, this has no chance. It's too deep coverage. I mean, it's just a poor decision, and especially in that part of the field, you're backed up. That's not a high percentage throw, and that was really a force by David Carr.
Seymour has had an interception. Sanders has had a pick, and now Hobbs with the third Patriot interception of the day on Carr, who came in with only 7 interceptions on the season, and now he has thrown 10 touchdowns and 10 picks on the year.
You know, Kevin, after a decision like that, I can remember as a player, Gruden wouldn't even look at me on the sidelines. He wouldn't even talk to me. I mean, that's what happens. I mean, you just get mad. You get so disgusted that you spend so much time during the course of the week trying to put your players in situations where they can make some plays, and well, that just kills you.
We'll talk about that in just a second. Next Saturday, it's 2 scoops of holiday basketball when the Michigan Wolverines tangle with the top-ranked Bruins of UCLA. Or BC takes on Kansas, and in the nightcap, the Buckeyes battle the Florida Gators. On CBS, home of Super Bowl 41. 1st and 10 for Tom Brady. At the 29-yard line, Corey Dillon with the Stephen Neal block. He's chased by Bacons. He turns the corner, and he's out of bounds at the 24-yard line on a gain of 5. Talk about the relationship you had with Gruden. I think it was pretty well documented. And then what Brady has with Belichick and the special relationship that all quarterbacks have to have with their head coach.
Well, I think that it is a special relationship because Bill Belichick knows that Tom Brady is going to make good decisions for him, and that's what you want from your quarterback, and nobody's done a better job over the last 5 years than Tom Brady, and that's the trust that you develop between a player and a coach, and it's special. And I think that when we talked with Belichick the other day, he was really clear. You know, he said the pressure got to him last week. He said, no, it didn't.
2nd down and 5, and Antoine Peak will make the tackle at the 20-yard line on a quick pass to Troy Brown and a gain of 4.
You know, he was almost offended. You know, I said, hey, I watched the game. I watched the tape. I saw that, you know, you get a great quarterback and you pressure him, you knock him around, he becomes an average quarterback. He looked me right in the eye and said, you're not Tom Brady. And that's the thing about him. I mean, he doesn't make many poor decisions, and I think he understands the importance of taking care of the ball and not putting his team in bad situations. That's something that Coach Belichick impressed upon him, instilled upon him his first year here with the Patriots.
Extra lineman is in. Wesley Britt, 3rd down and 1. Off to Evans, who plows ahead, and looks like he's got the first down to the 17-yard line. A block by Neal up there, opening up the way, and Mankins and Copen, they were all there. A gain of 3 and a first.
You know, I sensed some frustration from Tom last week, and you know, there weren't a lot of places to throw the ball versus Miami, but what they've done a better job of today is beating man-to-man coverage. I mean, there's a number of throws last week in that game where the protection was adequate. He had nowhere to throw it. He was throwing the ball away 8, 9, 10 times. But today, they've done a good job beating man-to-man coverage, and that's where you have to win in this league. Corey
Dillon is back in the game. 1st and 10, 17-yard line. Interception set up this great New England possession. And here is Dillon, who is wrapped up immediately by the secondary guy, Glenn Earl. No gain on the play, and 17-yard line.
You know, the great thing about Tom Brady is he gets you in and out of bad situations. And he does such a good job during the week studying film and game planning and understanding the strengths and weaknesses not only of his unit, but the defense that they're facing. And he has a great job, the uncanny ability to change protections at the line of scrimmage, get him in and out of bad runs. And that's what makes it so difficult to defend against an offense like the Patriots.
2nd down and 10. Dillon, Evans a block, then Graham a block, and the gain is to the 13-yard line where he's brought down by Glenn Earl. Gain of 4. That should be the final play of the 3rd quarter. Brady has thrown a couple touchdown passes. Carr has thrown 3 interceptions, sacked 4 times. Kevin Falk with 2 touchdowns. The Patriots narrowing in on their 10th win of the year. 4th quarter is here on a mild day in New England with Rich Gannon, Kevin Harlan. 3rd down and 5. This is the first play of the 4th quarter. They've got their 2 tight ends wide. Graham to the bottom of your screen. Thomas to the top. 3rd and 5 for Brady.
He's going to look inside somewhere to one of the receivers.
Everybody moves. Everybody was jumping. Looked like maybe Matt Light, who has been a career starter out of Purdue for the New England Patriots.
One of the few pre-snap penalties we've seen today from the Patriots. They've been pretty clean, pretty flawless in their execution.
False start. Offense. Number 72. Third down.
That's only the second penalty against New England. The Subway post-game show is being put together for you right now in New York. JB and the crew, scores, highlights, and news. The Subway post-game show coming up next on CBS. Third down and 10. Back to the 18-yard line. 6 in the secondary. Brady goes against it, throws underneath, caught by Falk, grabbed by Peak. Gain of 4. He's to the 13-yard line, and they're going to have to settle for 3.
And it's one of the things that Brady does a good job of, understanding situations in the game. 34-7 lead. It's not there. Take the check down, take the back on a little burst route, kick the field goal, move on.
Well, already today, Gostkowski has kicked field goals of 36 and 34 yards. I think it said 32 up there. I'm going to check that once again. This is a 31-yard try here. And that is good. So 3 field goals by the rookie. A 30-point lead for Belichick and his team with 14:18 to play. Patriots cash in on the Ellis Hobbs interception. They get a 31-yard field goal and extend their lead to 37-7. Gostkowski will kick off once again, and deep back will be Dexter Wynn. Into the end zone, and he'll bring it out. Will Wynn gets a block, and then Chad Scott gets a beat on him and brings him down inside the 20-yard line. 22-yard return. There goes David Carr. Rugged day for him. 14-12 in the game.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Kay Jewelers. Every kiss begins with Kay. Cadillac, season's best from Cadillac, helping you navigate through the holidays, life, liberty, and the pursuit. And by Subway Restaurants. Subway, eat fresh.
Gorgeous day in New England. Patriots playing as good as the weather. 37-7. 14-12 left in the game. 1st and 10. After the kickoff and after a 31-yard field goal. Carr to Dane. Good block by Hopkins. And a run up the middle, and the tackle made at the 30-yard line by Sanders. An 11-yard burst. There is a new right tackle. Steve McKinney is in for Fred Weary for the Houston Texans. Weary came off with an injury a little while ago. And here are some of your game points revisited.
Well, we talked about finishing with integrity. I mean, it's been a miserable performance for Houston. One I'm sure they like to forget. And then for New England getting their swagger back. I mean, they rebounded from last week, and they've done so in a dramatic fashion.
Monte Leach is in. 1st and 10. Intercepted again. Picked up by Asante Samuel. And here he goes. Carr bangs into him out of bounds at the 5. Out of bounds at the 5. And Carr is picked off for a 4th time today. A 33-yard return. And Asante Samuel gets his 8th interception of the year, tied for number 1 in the NFL.
Well, Asante Samuel, I mean, he's just sitting on, he's outside. He got the clear route go by. He just waits on the tight end, and he just drives on that one again. We talked about seeing throws. You just can't make these throws. You just watch him finish here. Steps out around the 5, but he's had a great day. He's been in the right place at the right time. He's made a lot of plays on the ball.
He was the AFC Defensive Player of the Week a couple weeks ago. This big game this year, 3 picks against Chicago a while back. 1st and goal at the 5. They put now Calvin Kite atop your screen as one receiver. Jackson at the bottom is another. Dillon in the backfield, and on 1st and goal, it's Dillon who stood up and taken down behind the line of scrimmage. A good hit by Glenn Earl, who's played well. It's a loss of 3, and it's back to the 8-yard line.
When you get in these situations as a quarterback, I mean, you love to be in these situations. This is an opportunity, I hate to say it, to pad your stats sometimes. You got to keep on getting these turnovers in this part of the field. You just want to take a shot. I'm sure that's probably going through Tom Brady's head right now. He wants to take a shot, maybe puncture one in one of these seams in this part of the field to one of his receivers on the outside lane.
Two tight ends, including Thomas, is in the slot atop your screen. A rookie there, and beyond him is Jackson, a rookie. Second and goal at the 8 for Brady. Dillon. There's a block by Light and a run to the 3, and the tackle is made by Thomas Johnson after a gain of 5 yards on the play.
I'll tell you what, you have to give this offensive line of the Patriots some credit. They've done a nice job today moving piles, getting up on that second level. And you haven't heard as much from D'Amico Ryans today. I mean, they've done a good job neutralizing him, the middle linebacker for the Texans, who's leading the National Football League in tackles. They've done a good job kind of surrounding him, swarming him, and keeping him out of the action.
Caldwell, Brown, Thomas, Falk, Gaffney, the 5 receivers. 6 in the secondary for Houston. Third and goal at the 3. Brady to the hands of Troy Brown. He has had a difficult day today. Some drops for the veteran Brown, incomplete, and they'll go for 3 more.
And he's missed Troy on a number of occasions, as you talked about, Kevin. And they're tough throws. I mean, watch him. He'll be working inside. You have to put it on him. And that one's behind him as well. And that's a throw that I'm sure Tom Brady would like to have back. But when you're throwing to a receiver, especially a smaller receiver like Troy Brown, boy, you got to put it on his body, especially in that part of the field. He knows he's going to take a hit on the other end.
36, 32, 31-yard field goals made today by Gostkowski. And here's a shot from 21 yards away. And that extends the Patriot lead with 12 minutes exactly to play, 40-7. Well, Matt Castle may take the place of Tom Brady. In fact, the torch probably passed right there between the two after Brady took his team in for a 21-yard field goal. Gostkowski has had a good day kicking the ball. And hit by Artrell Hawkins at about the 23-yard line, a 24-yard return. There are some teams that have finished strong, like the 0-1 Patriots. Went 5-0 over the last 5 games. The 0-2 Buccaneers 3-2. The 0-3 Patriots went 5-0 over the last 5. Patriots in 0-4 went 4-1. And the Steelers last year were at 7-5, went 4-1 over the last 5, and won the Super Bowl.
Kevin, you can see the importance of playing your best football in the month of December, and that's what this team realizes in New England. They realize when the playoffs draw near, they know how to kick it in gear, really play their best down the stretch. 1st and 10 for David Carr outside for Eric Moulds. Having a beat on him is Hobbs, and the gain is to the 24, a pickup of a yard. Hobbs had an interception the last time and returned a kickoff 93 yards earlier in this game. Well, you know, they have such a conservative offensive approach. I mean, they're going to run it, mix some play action in there. They try and play great defense and then try and win close games at the end. I mean, that's really their only chance because of their personnel. That's kind of the model that they have. And against a team like the Patriots, it's not working.
2nd down, short 9. This is caught by Bruner, who is walloped by Bruschi and Corey Mays, who is now in as the middle linebacker at the 31-yard line. That is a 6-yard pickup. Again, Mays, a starting middle linebacker at Notre Dame last year.
And this is great. This is you just saw Teddy Bruschi there talking with Corey Mays. This is a great opportunity to get some of your younger players on the field, get them some experience. It's a great learning environment for them.
3rd and 2. Waleed Lundy. Mays makes the stop, but not after Lundy smashes ahead for a 1st down to the 36-yard line, and he picks up 6 on the play.
Remember this, Kevin. These guys are doing the same amount of work as the starters. I mean, they're here in the off-season program. They're in the weight room. They're doing all the extra conditioning and running. And so when Sunday rolls around, they're usually over there on the sidelines doing a lot of watching. This is a great opportunity and a great time for them to kind of get out and play and make some plays and have some fun. They deserve it. They worked for it. They deserve this opportunity.
4 in the secondary. It is a 1st down for Houston. A quick throw to Andre Johnson, who is wrapped up by Hobbs. 45-yard line. Gain of 8 on the throw. Tonight is Survivor Sunday on CBS. After 60 minutes, the final challenges, the final vote, and the final twist that will make this Survivor finale unlike any other. Followed by the live reunion show tonight on CBS, America's #1 network. 2nd down and 2. Yep, the Santas are getting ready for a busy week. 3 receivers, 5 in the secondary. Waleed Lundy and a block by Bruner springs Lundy free before he's shoved out of bounds by Hobbs. Run of 14 yards, a first down, and 2. The flag is down 2 at the 44. There's a look at Ellis Hobbs out of Iowa State.
Holding. Offense. Number 87. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
That was Bruner, the tight end. Known more as a blocking tight end than a receiving one. It's a second 12.
Well, the mistakes today have been devastating. The interceptions, the failed fourth down attempt, the sacks, the kickoff return for a touchdown. They can't give up big plays in the kicking game. They really hurt themselves today.
Lundy on second down and 12. He was hit by Larry Izzo, whacked by Sanders, and picks up 6 yards to the 41.
Well, Kevin, I can't say that you or I are surprised by this performance today for the Patriots. I mean, we watched practice on Friday. It's the longest practice we've seen this year. I mean, they covered every possible situation. A 2-minute, both sides of the ball, backed up. I mean, they left no stone unturned. And, I mean, they were extremely thorough. And the tempo was great. And, I think other teams should take note. It's how champions practice. And I was really impressed by the way these guys got after it. The tempo was great. Everyone was hustling. Everyone was flying around trying to make plays. That's the way you do it in the NFL.
3rd and 6, and Carr throws into 5 defensive back coverage. He is wide, uncatchable pass toward Moulds, covered on the play by Mickens and Chad Scott.
And when you practice like that, it all comes together for you in all 3 phases of the game. Offensively, defensively, and then again, you get some big plays in the kicking game. This is just a bonus, and that's what they've done. I mean, when you practice that way, it carries over to Sunday in the way you perform, and that's what we've seen here today from the Patriots.
Stanley to punt again. Kevin Falk is back inside the 15-yard line for the New England Patriots. We will go to 10-4. Houston will drop to 4-10. And fair caught at the 19-yard line by Kevin Falk. A 40-yard punt by Stanley. 8:41 to play in the game from Foxborough.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Dr. Pepper. With 23 flavors in every Dr. Pepper, there's more to it. And by GMC, we are professional grade.
8:41 to play in the game. A huge lead and soon-to-be victory for Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, who has relinquished the quarterbacking duty now to Matt Castle. 2 years out of USC. Played a bit last week in Miami. Brady finishes 16 of 23 with 2 touchdowns. 1st and 10. Castle is incomplete. A nice defense by Mario Williams. CBS Sportsline Sunday Game Center features lightning-fast scoring of every NFL game. Plus, check out the detailed playoff scenarios with the real-time seating and an exclusive playoff race insider blog. It's all at CBSSportsline.com. Matt Castle has played in 3 games this season. 2nd down and 10. To Corey Dillon. And he's brought down by D'Amico Ryans, a gain to the 22-yard line and a 2-yard gain on the play. And the AFC playoff picture, it looks like the Jets are going to win. New England will win, so the Jets will go to 8-6. New England will go to 10-4. Had the Patriots seen the Jets lose today in Minnesota and New England going on to win, they would have captured the division, but not the case. 3rd and a long 7. So we'll have to wait till next week. Castle, screen pass, good block by Mankins, and opens up the door for Dillon, who is brought down on the play by the secondary and Simmons, and also by Anderson. It's a gain of 10, and the ball's to the 32.
And this is a surprise right here. Look at the Jacksonville, Tennessee game.
What about the Titans?
As well as Jacksonville played last week, Kevin.
Shocked.
I went out on a limb and said I picked them to be a team that really was going to do some damage here and make a run in the AFC. But boy, that's a surprise.
Tennessee has played. They've won 4 straight games, and they've had 3 straight come from behind wins. Heath Emmons on 1st and 10, trying to work his way to the 35 and picking up 4 yards on the play. And ND Kalu bringing him down. So this will be Tennessee's, if they go on to win their 5th consecutive win. They're going to be at 500.
Yeah, you know, you got to tip your hat to Vince Young, the job he's done. But that defense, they've scored 3 defensive touchdowns today in that game.
And I mentioned this earlier. That is the last placed, statistically, the last place defense in the NFL, number 32. All the teams. 2nd and 6, 37-yard line. Falk is in the backfield. Heath Evans, who was tripped up by Glenn Earl, stumbles up to the 45 and picks up 8. Evans has been used quite a bit. Originally a 3rd-round pick by Seattle, went to Miami, let go. And the Patriots reeled him in last year.
And he gives you a lot of versatility. I mean, he's a good blocking back, but he can also carry the ball and get you some tough yards up inside and just short on opportunities. And it's tough to get your hands on a lot of balls when you consider the fact that you got Maroney and Dillon and Falk touching a lot of the balls.
Here's Falk touching this on 1st and 10 before he was waylaid by Simmons after a gain of 5 getting to midfield, getting to the 50-yard line.
Well, it's never easy to go on the road and get embarrassed. And I know it's been a tough season for Houston, but I know this. I know Gary Kubiak's going to get it done. I told him yesterday it's no hill for a climber, and he was a great player, and he's even a better coach. And some way, somehow, he'll find a way to turn this thing around and get this organization headed back in the right direction.
There are 5 in the secondary for the Houston Texans. 2nd down and 5. Faisal has brought in an extra receiver. Brown and Gaffney on one side. Caldwell on the other. Evans, look at him. Fire away and take it inside the 40 to the 39. A gain of 11 and brought down by D'Amico Ryans. Another 1st down.
So I said he just needed some opportunities, Kevin, and they're hard to find here when you look at all the great backs that they have. But I'll tell you, that's the impressive thing when you look at this, the personnel they have on this offense. I mean, a lot of guys can do a lot of different things well, and that's what you need to be able to win in this league. The guys that have great versatility and bring a lot of different things to the table.
Wesley Britt has taken the place of Light. Murchkowski has come in to take the place of Logans on the left side of the line. 1st and 10, 39. It's Daniel Graham on the move. Handoff going to Evans. Brought down by Troy Evans. No relation. Troy Evans, a reserve, and a loss of a yard on the play. Bill Belichick as these opponents remaining.
Yeah, it doesn't get any easier. Go on the road to Jacksonville, a great defense, and then, of course, Tennessee that hasn't rolled over and quit just yet. They're still battling. Jeff Fisher doing a good job down there with his young quarterback. And that's the thing about the National Football League. There's never a breather. There's never a gimme on the schedule. It's tough every week.
2nd down and 11. Castle, screen pass. Evans, Hochstein with the block. He just came into center. The tackle is made by Greenwood on the side. A gain of 4. Down to the 36.
Talk about being in the right place at the right time, and that's not been the situation with Matt Castle. I mean, think about this guy, at USC playing behind Carson Palmer and then Matt Leinart. And then what does he do? He comes to New England, and you're behind Tom Brady, a guy that never misses a start and hardly ever comes off the field. It's hard to get any playing time with a guy like that in front of you. I mean, it's just, you got to scratch your head and maybe question who's his agent put in these situations.
3rd down and 7. And a timeout taken by the New England Patriots. 3:23 to play. 2 timeouts remaining for Belichick and his Patriots. Well, the month of December has belonged to the New England Patriots, right at the top of the heap over Pittsburgh and Philly and the others since 2001.
They're all good teams, and the reason why they're good teams is they know how to play when the games really matter in December and when the playoff scenario starts to unfold. And New England has been as good as anybody, and what you need confidence going into the playoffs this time of the year.
Next Sunday, it's a hand-picked doubleheader with playoff implications. A lot of you will see New England, Jacksonville. A lot of you also see Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and late it'll be Cincinnati at Denver and San Diego at Seattle, all beginning with the NFL Today, led by James Brown, here on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 41.
Belichick actually called that timeout. The play clock was down to about 2 seconds, and Matt Castle didn't see it, so Bill Belichick went over there and asked for the timeout himself. That's a good coaching on his part.
3rd and 7, Corey Dillon. Is a block by Casual. Tackle made by Kylie Wong. Ex-Minnesota Viking. It's a gain of 3. He's down to the 32-yard line. A look at Kylie Wong, who's been banged up a little bit. He returned week 7 from the physically unable to perform list. He had a knee injury, which dates back to last year. He's had a hamstring as well that has bothered him. There's the Jets on top by 13 over the Minnesota Vikings and under 7 to play there. 4th and 4 now for New England at the 34 of Houston. 4 in the secondary for the Texans. Castle caught. Riche Caldwell has the first down. Beat Dante Robinson. Gain of 6 on 4th and 4. And move the chains down to about the 27-yard line.
Now this defense just hasn't had any answers for these quick underneath throws that the Patriots been hitting them with all day. And they've just been attacking the zones. And the quarterbacks have done a good job for the Patriots getting the ball in and out of their hands quickly. And Texans just haven't been able to answer. They have no idea where these routes are coming from.
And we're at the 2-minute warning here in Foxborough with the Patriots on top 40-7 over Houston. We're going to see our third different New England quarterback. They've gone from Brady to Castle and now to Vinny Testaverde. Goes to a knee. And they'll run out the clock. Testaverde, the holder of a lot of records with individual teams. He is in the top 10 in NFL history in the 4 major passing categories. And now there is a flag on the play. He's older than you are, Rich.
That's right. Came in the same year, 1987. It just goes to show you how difficult it is to play here in New England. You go in there, Matt Castle, you don't generate enough big plays. They yank it and put it in Vinny Testaverde.
Offense. Number 65 was lined up on the end of the line. Penalty is declined. 2nd down.
That's Wesley Britt coming up after the game. The Subway postgame show. JB and Crew scores, highlights, news. On the Subway postgame show coming up next from our CBS studios in New York. Well, they took over at the 20 with 8:41 left. 13th play of the drive coming up. 2nd and 11. Vinny will go to a knee. And the Patriots will go to 10-4, remaining in first place in the AFC East with a 2-game lead over the Jets, who look like they have won their game at the Dome in downtown Minneapolis against the Vikings. Houston will go to 4-10 with a lot of soul searching, but I think that you hit on it seconds ago after last week's loss. Even Gary Kubiak admitted, I don't know what we've got left in the tank emotionally and physically after that overtime loss to the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, it showed today they just didn't have any juice left.
3rd down and 12 and Testaverde.
I got to tell you though, Kevin, I got a big kick at practice on Friday, and we were out there watching their defense practice, their scout team. They only had 10 players on the field, and finally Coach got so fed up, he told them all to hit it. They knew exactly what to do. He wanted them to start running. It's a little thing that they do when they can't get their communications things straightened out. And the funny thing about it was he told them, he said, you know what, you guys have done so bad, I want you to keep hitting it, just take 2 laps. And so the whole crew started running around the field, and Mike Vrabel kind of wisecracked, and he turned around and said, hey, Coach, how about my bad back? And Belichick said, hey, listen, you keep running, that'll loosen up on the second one. And I tell you, that's how they do it here. The expectations are so high, there's no complaining. They just realize if it's not done the way it's supposed to be, we're going to pay for it. We're going to run until we get it straightened out. And that's the beauty of this system. That's the beauty of this organization. They win. They do it the right way with discipline, with structure, and players who understand the importance of detail.
Tom Brady threw 2 touchdown passes today. 4 interceptions. David Carr of the Houston Texans on the other side. He was also sacked 4 times. Hobbs had a 93-yard kickoff return for a touchdown for Houston, or rather for the New England Patriots. Kevin Falk had a couple of touchdowns. He caught one and then ran it in. He had also a 11-yard touchdown run to get things started for New England. And interceptions today by Hobbs, Sanders, Samuel, and Seymour. Quiet day for Mario Williams, too, the #1 overall pick on the defensive line for Houston.
And he's been bothered by a plantar fasciitis problem with his foot. And, it's hard. People don't realize he has to get that injected every game to go out there and play. And, And Gary Kubiak said he usually plays better in the first half as opposed to in the second half where that medication starts to wear off. And it's a very, very painful injury to have. And it says a lot for him and the effort that he's brought to the table, just trying to go out there and compete even though he's not 100%.
Well, on downs, the New England Patriots turn it over. And so Carr assembles his offense at the 32. And Waleed Lundy. Grabbed and brought down on the play by the interior of that line. And Jarvis Green was right there on a gain of 2. And that'll do it. So 40-7 the final score here in Foxborough as Kubiak and Belichick greet each other. For Rich Gannon, Kevin Harlan sending you to New York and JB.